Welcome back, everybody. It's been a while since I've got to say that. The reason is because life happens. Good things happen, bad things happen. Maybe I'll tell you someday. Maybe I won't. Maybe you'll care. Maybe you won't. But that's not why you're here. You're here about Azur Lane, the top 5 things that I found interesting with this release. Before I begin, I want to say if you use my TCG player link, it was recently updated. They switched vendors, I guess. So if you have it saved anywhere, please take the new link from the description down below. Okay, so Azur Lane, there was a booster box, 43 signed cards inside of it. Inside of a case, you would find 4 SP or 1 SEC and 3 SP unless you had some sort of production error. With the trial decks, there were 4 signed cards. There was a rate of 2 SP per case, and that 4 signed cards is per the different trial decks. Now, number 1, top sign cards. I love this one because number 1 was Baltimore. There's a lot happening on the screen and maybe you don't understand it, but what you're going to notice is that blue 99999 box. That is from Strictly Broken. The reason I'm using that is because the 999.99 above is actually TCG Player, which it hasn't actually sold as of this point. Now, I will tell you, these prices were as of yesterday. So if it's sold between yesterday and today, then you know what I'm saying may be a little bit different. But it's okay because it's going to be close enough. Anyways, 999 was the biggest card that I could find sold for the entire set, Baltimore. And the best part about it is it was a trial deck SP. So why I talk about Strictly Broken is because when you go and purchase things, I hope you do a little bit of shopping around, right? When you go Christmas shopping, holiday shopping, you go used to back in the day go store to store, mall to mall. Now we go website to website. So I just use this as another point to say, right? Strictly Broken actually had a bunch of signed cards that were lower than TCG Player. They had some super rares, triple rares, and people were paying more on TCG Player instead of just checking out other websites. So maybe you want to do some due diligence, check out Facebook, check out some of these individual sellers before you actually go and purchase off TCG Player. But if you do, use my new link. I use that for giveaways. I'll talk about that in the future. Anyways, Prince Eugen, right here you can see there was sales of $899.99 and $850. It's hard to keep track of then how many 99s I said, but you can see that was the biggest one sold on TCG Player. Currently, as of yesterday, sitting at $1,000. Amazing enough, that is another trial deck signature card. So on the screen, you're going to see a bunch of blue X's. The blue X's are your trial deck SPs. And there is quite a few of them. You can see they have some decent amount of pricing. What you're also going to notice of interest to me was what was going to be your booster box expensive SPs. And there is New Jersey sitting there at $1,049.99. Market price down there, $655.49. So you have some heavy hitters. This set definitely have a bunch of heavy hitters, as you could see some of them on your screen. There's a commonality with a bunch of them. If you can't see it, then maybe you just go back to my other video when I showed all the different cards, and maybe you'll see what's going on in them. But it's pretty obvious what's happening here. Inside of the booster box again was your SECs. You have 4 of them. That they're kind of expensive. Kind of, because you could look at on the screen, and I might talk about that a little bit later in another video, but here you go. We have Belfast, $474.99. Yeah, that's expensive. Market price, though. Number 2, Sealed and Dead. I want to just take this point again to tell you about Sealed and Dead boxes. So when you go out to TCG Player, I want you to go out there and make sure you check your seller. Right, do your due diligence. Make sure that who you are buying from, you can actually somewhat trust. If you don't know how to do that yet, right, just go in there, see what they're actually selling from their. You can look at all the different items they're selling, and just make sure to say, you know what, are these trial decks dead or alive? And I will talk about that a little bit later. But you can see for how much I assumed was going to be open. The amount of supply out there, the price it's currently sitting at, is it pretty amazing, right? With your trial deck displays, same thing here. It's actually pretty high, 129, 129, 129, 120. Amazing on that one too. Now take a look at the booster box and the booster box case. There's something to be said about the booster box case sitting at $1,100. What would that be? Oh, maybe it's the fact that these sign cards are actually worth something. People actually want them and they don't want to have dead booster boxes. I think that is the story from this, and you can see other people buying single booster boxes. The price doesn't completely crash because it is actually a popular set. Now, number three with your triple rares. The interesting part about the triple rares here for me are the fact that you're going to be getting the majority of the higher priced ones from the trial deck. You could see that here. The first seven are from the trial. Actually, the first seven and the ninth one are from the trial deck. Literally, the only one on the screen that is not a trial deck is going to be number 8 Phoenix Spring Song Triple Rare Climax, which is usable. That's why it's sitting there. That's why there's a listing of one. Remember what I always said about, are cards actually playable or is it for the art? And the easiest way to find that out is number 4 with your SRs. We got your Fuso. I probably messed up that name. I'm sorry. I don't know a lot of the pronunciations for Azur Lane, Yamashiro. So what do you see going on here? Right? With those two cards, there's only 4 listings, and they're 35 and 38.98. Surprise, surprise, they're actually used in decks. If you go take a look at some of the decks out there on Encore decks, you're going to find them out there in your level 0 slot, right? So Soryu at the bottom right, she's used as well. You can see that 5 listings, 535. I think you get the idea, right? You could see the differences in availability. And then look at the card art if that doesn't make as much sense. But there is a lot to say about this set. People actually do want to play with it, even though it's not the strongest meta-wise, because you got some nice cards in there. I always said that this is probably going to be a nice set to actually introduce somebody into it, just because of the different card art, the prices of the cards that I see in the future, like this. Double rares, number 5. So here we go with your double rares. There were 15 double rares in total. When I did the play set, I mapped it out to $78.56. I didn't bother counting up all the rares, but I did a little estimate in my head, so $23.20. So I would say play set, if someone's really desperate, $100 to $125, not including the trial decks. So with how many people I would assume open trail decks, I feel like that you could get a probably 150, 175 for the whole dang thing. And when you think about that, that's a pretty nice price. Again, maybe not the strongest meta-wise, but here we go. It's a deck that looks nice, and you can have all these beautiful cards and show people. And I think it'll be a lot of actual fun. So why are the playsets low? Again, it's like a seesaw, right? When you open that case, you have to take a look at how much you can get back. And not every case will give you money, right? It just doesn't come out of thin air, because if that was true, everybody could just buy cases. But in theory here, you have enough SPs, you have SECs that are high price. So go back and think about what you saw with that New Jersey, right? If you bought a case for $950 and you could sell that New Jersey for 600 something, and you can have 3 other sign cards in there, that's a lot of room to actually make the money back for your case. So something has to suffer. If your SPs are expensive, that means your playable cards are probably going to suffer a little bit. Not so much, because you can see that Cleveland, $8.20. Nagato is $3.19. So not all the cards, the double rare slots for trash or bulk or anything like that price wise, but there was 15 of them, so the chance of you getting it was a little bit lower than usual. So I think for considering what was inside of the case, a playset being at 100 to 125, not that big of a deal. Now that was my top 5, but I just want to put a couple of bonuses out here. So bonus in the PR slot, remember there was a tournament store assist pack that had the actual triple rare. The regular climax is in here, but an OFR version, but not shiny. So I don't believe it was shiny. And you can see right here, they are sitting at $3. So would you rather have a triple rare, a textless one with no real foiling on it, or just a base one? The nice part was you got the choice between which one you want and based on your budget. I will also point out the bottom row, which you can get from not the booster box and not the Torrent Store PR pack. And that's where I'm gonna end it. Okay, and then next one is greed. That's a segue into greed. Wow, look at that. So if you noticed earlier when I was talking about the SEC, I'm gonna do this in a different video, but you can see there's a Belfast on the left, which is a double rare. There's a Belfast on the right, which is your SEC. How come that market price is $101.33? That's a good question, and something you should probably take a look at, because it's either greed or a horrible, horrible mistake repeated many, many times. And with that, as always, if you need me, feel free to contact me. Like I said, the TCG player link was updated because they switched to another vendor or platform or whatever the heck it was. But if you do need me for any reason, feel free to reach me at the places there. It's all in my description. As always, have fun, be happy, don't spend anything outside your budget. Have a good one.